Welcome to OLevels Economics Unit 19 Trade Unions. Trade unions are associations of workers formed to represent their interests and improve their pay and working conditions. There are four main types of trade unions. Craft unions represent workers with specific skills, such as plumbers or weavers, who may work across different industries. General unions include workers with a wide variety of skills from many different industries. Industrial unions aim to represent all workers within a particular industry, for example, those employed in the rail industry. White-collar unions represent professional workers such as teachers and pilots. In many countries, trade unions are members of national organizations that coordinate their activities. Some unions also belong to international organizations, such as the International Trade Union Confederation, which links trade unions across many countries. Trade unions perform several important roles. One of their key functions is negotiating on behalf of their members over wages, working hours, job security, and working conditions. These negotiations may cover basic pay, overtime rates, holidays, health and safety standards, promotion opportunities, maternity and paternity rights, and protection against unfair dismissal. Trade unions also provide information to their members on issues such as pensions, support education and training schemes, and sometimes take part in measures to increase demand for the goods and services produced by their members. Many unions offer benefits such as legal advice, sickness pay, and strike pay. In addition, trade unions often pressure governments to introduce laws that protect or improve workers' rights, such as a national minimum wage. Collective bargaining is one of the most important activities of trade unions. Individual workers usually have weak bargaining power and may lack the confidence, time, or skill to negotiate directly with employers. If a single worker demands higher wages or better conditions, an employer may be able to dismiss them and replace them easily. Through collective bargaining, workers act together and are represented by union officials who negotiate with employers on their behalf, increasing the workers' chances of achieving better outcomes. When negotiating for higher wages, trade unions may use several arguments. One argument is that workers deserve higher pay because they have increased productivity by working harder or more efficiently. Another argument is that if an industry's profits have risen, firms can afford to pay higher wages, especially since workers may have contributed to those profits. A third argument is the comparability argument, which suggests that workers should receive pay increases to keep their wages in line with similar workers in other occupations. A fourth argument relates to the cost of living, where unions demand wage increases to maintain workers' purchasing power when prices are rising, which is known as maintaining real income. The strength of a trade union depends on a number of factors. A high level of economic activity strengthens unions because firms are doing well and are more willing to improve pay and working conditions. Large membership numbers also increase union strength, as they provide more funds and make it harder for employers to replace union labour. Unions representing skilled workers tend to be stronger because skilled labour is difficult and expensive to replace. Consistent demand for the goods and services produced by workers also strengthens unions, especially when these goods and services are essential. Favourable government legislation that allows trade unions to take industrial action further increases their power. If negotiations fail, trade unions may take industrial action. This can include an overtime ban, where workers refuse to work beyond their contracted hours, or working to rule, where workers carry out only the exact duties stated in their contracts. The most well-known form of industrial action is a strike, which involves workers withdrawing their labour. Strikes may be official if they are approved by the union, or unofficial if they are not. The impact of strikes can be measured by the number of strikes, the number of workers involved, and the number of working days lost, with the last measure giving the clearest indication of their economic impact. Governments often encourage arbitration, where a third party helps employers and unions reach an agreement to reduce the likelihood of prolonged disputes. Trade unions can also influence the supply of labour by restricting entry into certain industries or occupations. They may insist on high qualifications for new workers or operate a closed shop, where employers can only hire workers who are members of the union or agree to join it. This contrasts with an open shop, where employers are free to hire both union and non-union workers. Trade union membership has both advantages and disadvantages for firms and workers. For firms, a key disadvantage is the loss of revenue and reputation that may result from strikes. Actions such as overtime bans and work to rule can also increase costs and reduce flexibility. However, trade unions make negotiation easier and cheaper through collective bargaining, act as a communication channel between employers and workers, promote training, productivity, and health and safety, and reduce conflict by providing formal grievance procedures. Benefits gained may also extend to non-unionised workers. For workers, trade union membership can lead to higher pay, better working conditions, and improved job security. Collective action strengthens their bargaining power, and members may receive legal and financial support such as strike or sickness pay. On the other hand, workers may lose income during strikes, have to pay membership fees, and may face employer hostility in workplaces that are not supportive of trade unions. The role and importance of trade unions vary across countries. In some countries, such as Saudi Arabia, trade unions are illegal. In Pakistan, industrial workers are allowed to form trade unions, but laws restrict their actions and limit their effectiveness. Trade union membership is relatively high in some countries, such as Mauritius, although it is lower in export processing zones, where employers discourage union membership. Trade unions are particularly strong in many European countries, especially in Nordic nations like Finland and Sweden. In the UK, union membership declined during the 1980s and 1990s due to restrictive legislation and rising unemployment, but remains higher in the public sector than in the private sector. In France, union membership is low, but unions remain powerful due to strong public support, frequent strike action, and laws that give them an important role in economic decision making. Thanks for watching.